Wood glue is essential whenever you're trying to join two pieces of wood together. Yes, you can use nails or screws for this process, but wood glue can do it without being seen. And when the glue is used correctly and fully dry, it is actually stronger than the wood itself. So let's go over a bunch of tips and tricks so you can get the best experience from your usage. For number one, before we start applying any glue, go get yourself a rag. We want you to slightly dampen this just in case. It is far easier to clean up any glue squeeze out with a slightly damp rag rather than a dry one. Just one word of warning, just make sure that we squeeze out any excess water from that rag. You want it just slightly damp because we don't want any of the excess water to make it into the joint and actually weaken that bond. For number two, have you ever tried masking tape whenever you're gluing wood together? Let me show you. If you happen to be gluing two pieces of wood together that already look really nice on the sides here, and you don't want to have a ton of sanding afterwards, you might want to consider taping right along that joint. I did it as close as I could, making sure not to get inside the joint, but right along the edge. Then you apply your glue, clamp it together, give it plenty of time to dry, and then all you have to do is remove the tape, and majority of that glue will come along with that tape, and which requires a heck of a lot less sanding. Number three, most of the glue you find in stores is either yellow or white, and when it dries it has a tendency to leave kind of a yellow little line. Well, in a lot of your light colored woods like pine or spruce, you don't even notice that. But what if you're gluing together something dark like walnut or mahogany? In those cases, it's a good idea to get a dark wood glue. This right here is made by Titebond, and it allows you to glue together your dark woods, and it has a much darker ending result, so you don't notice those lines as easily. Now, I don't use this glue very often, so I only buy it in small bottles. In fact, it's probably time for me to replace this one as well. Now I'll talk more on how long glue will last in a little bit. For number four, let's look your wood over before we glue it. If it happens to be really smooth, it looks really shiny, we might have a problem. In these cases, it looks like somebody's already added a finish to this wood. Well, in that case, the wood glue will not be absorbed by the fibers, and basically it's going to be useless. So in these cases, we need to take some sandpaper and go over the entire piece of wood, making sure to remove any of that shiny material so we can get back to a dull finish. That way your wood glue will adhere properly. For number five, whenever I'm trying to spread glue around, in most cases I grab one of these little silicone brushes to help spread the glue. Now most of these brushes can be found at your local woodworking store or even some of those home improvement stores. But let me show you something even better. This right here was a basting brush, has a silicone tip out here. The bristles did extend way out, so I cut them way back, and I found this at the local dollar store. Now, of course, if you look at them side by side, they're not exactly the same. In fact, this one over here is about twice the width, which means you can use it in a lot broader area. Now, if you don't know about these silicone brushes, the best way to actually remove glue from it is to let the glue actually just dry completely on it. And then, once it is, you just slowly start peeling it back and forth, and the glue just comes out, sometimes in a very large piece, just like that. And now you're ready to use that brush again. Now, if by chance you don't have a silicone brush, you may want to consider maybe an old business card, an old credit card, maybe an old gift card. That'll allow you to spread that glue across large surfaces pretty quick. For number six, what does a vacuum cleaner, dental floss, and a syringe have in common? Well, if you happen to have a crack or a small gap in your wood and you need to get some glue in that area, you can use any of those. Let me show you. Let's first look at the dental floss. Let's say we have a crack in the wood here and we're trying to get some glue down deep. Take some glue, put it right on the edge of that crack. Then we're going to open up our dental floss, pull out a small piece, and then we're going to use it to work that glue down into that crack. Now you may have to do this a few times to get enough glue in there, but once you do and you got it deep in that crack, clamp it together and give it time to dry. Now if you want to use a vacuum for this process, again, put some glue right on that crack, and then we're going to turn the vacuum on and suck the glue all the way through. Now of course you need to make sure you have plenty of room on the other side to do this, and to make sure that the glue goes all the way through. And last but definitely not least, we can use a syringe. This is just a craft syringe. It comes with a bunch of little blunt little needles that have real large holes in them. And what we're going to do is put one on there, and then we're going to squeeze the glue deep in those cracks. For number 7, if you happen to be gluing a very large panel, maybe you're doing a veneer over a door or whatever that might be, to spread that much glue quick enough so it doesn't start to dry on you can be a challenge. In those cases, you might want to consider investing in a small foam roller, or I happen to have this little adapter that fits on top of a glue bottle to make that a little bit faster. In any case, having a large roller to apply it was definitely helpful. For number 8, when you're attaching and gluing two pieces of wood together, there's always a chance there can be a little gap right there at that seam. Now, if we leave it as is, well, you're going to definitely see a glue line as the glue dries. So an easy way to actually make that a little bit more invisible is really simple. You need to take some of the real fine sawdust that came out of the wood when you were cutting it. Now, some of this might actually be a little bit on the large size. I'll probably have to sift through some of this to find the real fine stuff. But what you want to do is then put a little bit of glue in here, mix it all together, and then take it over to that gap and embed it in that gap. Push it in there real tight, give it plenty of time to dry, and then you can go sand it smooth, and all those little wood fibers will kind of hide that glue seam so you won't see it as easily. For number 9, sometimes when you're building a project, you need to glue in-grain to in-grain. Now, this is not the best joint. In fact, it's actually a little on the weak side. But there is an appropriate way to do it if you have to. We first need to take some glue and put it on the total end of our in-grain here on both pieces. And then we're going to set these to the side for about 5 to 10 minutes. During that process, the pores of the wood are going to suck up a bunch of that wood glue right in those pores. And then we're going to take some additional glue, put it on top of each piece, put it together, clamp it, and give it some time to dry. For number 10, whenever we're trying to glue two pieces of wood together, we add the glue, put it in a position, and start clamping it down. In a lot of those cases, when we're clamping it, the wood shifts or slides or just gets out of alignment. Let me show you a couple tricks to help keep that nice and solid. Once you have the glue already applied to your wood, some people like to take a little bit of table salt and sprinkle it over. And what that happens is it creates a little bit of a rough surface in that glue, so that once you have everything in position and start pushing it down, everything just kind of grips and keeps it from sliding. Now, I have a tendency to think that that salt might attract moisture, so I tend to avoid it. But let me show you exactly what I do. Using a similar concept, I prefer to actually use really gritty sandpaper. Now, this is 60 grit, which means the little sand on there is pretty decent size. And so what I do is then rub the sandpaper against itself, which drops a bunch of those little pieces of sand right into glue, and then attach it together using the same plan. For number 11, whenever we're trying to glue two pieces of wood together, we want to try and clamp it and hold them tight together. Well, in some cases, they might be a little bit odd shaped, and a clamp, which only provides side to side clamping pressure, might not fit around it. Imagine think it's a circle or maybe like an oval. In those cases, you might want to consider some basic rubber bands. Now, of course, a single rubber band is not going to provide a lot of strength, but get a bunch of them and wrap those around it, and all those irregular shapes that you're trying to glue together will now be nice and tight. For number 12, let me show you an easy way to actually glue together miter joints. For example, let's say this is a picture frame or a box. Whenever you glue those together, it could be a little bit hard to make sure everything stays in alignment as you're trying to get them together. So first off, we're going to flip them up so that the long edge is on the top. Then we're going to align them side by side there, trying to make sure that they're just barely touching and in alignment on both edges. Grab some painter's tape, pull off a little bit. Without moving that, we want to place the tape across both of those, making sure that it is fully pressed down on the top. Then we're going to flip it over. We're going to put some glue right there in that joint, and then we're going to push these two together. And what happens is that tape makes it nice and tight in this corner, and you can clamp the rest of it together, and that should be a really strong corner once it dries. For number 13, whenever you're trying to glue together large panels of wood, you might need a pipe clamp. There's only one drawback. If that wood glue touches this pipe and touches the wood, it can discolor the wood. So in those cases, it's a good idea to take some painter's tape or maybe just some wax paper, and you want to put it across the top of your pipe when you're gluing everything together. And that'll prevent that wood glue from touching the pipe and your wood, and hopefully won't discolor it. For number 14, if you're planning on gluing up a bunch of small pieces and you know you're going to make a mess with glue, I'd strongly recommend purchasing a silicone mat. Now the great thing about this, just like the brushes that you saw before, the glue doesn't stick to this very easily. So once we're done gluing everything together, give it plenty of time for the glue to dry, you can easily peel up your mess and throw it away. For number 15, whenever you are gluing corners together, a lot of times you're going to have glue squeeze out right there in the corner, and that is not easy to get out. In those cases, we want to grab a plastic drinking straw. And then right on one of the ends, you want to kind of pinch it just a little bit to create a little bit of a point. And then we're going to push it with the open end right through that corner. And that straw is now going to pick up most of that glue and remove it from your joint. For number 16, let me show you something that was originally designed for paint, but is actually really good for glue. Once we've glued two pieces of wood together and we had that glue squeeze out, then we give that plenty of time to dry. It's now time to remove that glue. In a lot of cases, many people would grab a chisel and slowly peel off or chisel off that glue. But in that process, there's always a chance that the blade might get up under one of those fibers, and next thing you know, you've peeled up some wood and you've created damage. Well, how do we prevent that? Instead of using a chisel, invest in a paint scraper. This right here is designed to originally remove paint, but with the angle of the blade here and the width of it, it'll allow you to get in here and remove that glue squeeze out that we have, and in most cases won't damage your wood. Now we got a few more tips to go, but if by chance you are interested in the paint scraper or any of the other products mentioned earlier, I'll put a link to those in the description. Make sure you check them out. For number 17, let's say you go to use your glue. You give it a good squeeze and oh no, the nozzle is all gummed up. Well, there's a couple ways you can fix it. You can take it off and try and carefully use an object to get down in there and dig it out. But that could potentially damage that nozzle. Instead of doing that, get you a jar or a cup, fill about halfway up with hot water, grab that nozzle, put it in that water for just about 5 minutes, and then you should be able to pour it out and easily get that plug out of your nozzle, and it shouldn't cause any damage. Tip number 18, whenever you buy a new container of glue, it's a good idea to write the date that you purchased it directly on the bottle. Sometimes you can find a Best Buy date on the bottle, and sometimes you can't. So I just always put the current date that I purchased it, so at least I have a good idea of how old it is. And now maybe you might be thinking, well, if you can't find a Best Buy date, how long will glue last? A good rule of thumb is about 2 years. I've extended this in a few circumstances to get it up and over 3 years, but that was, well, kind of an exception. So a good rule of thumb to keep in mind, if you have glue that's over 2 years old, it's probably a good idea to replace it. Also keep in mind that if your glue has started to turn colors, or maybe started to separating into layers, or just turned real chunky, it's probably time to replace it. As you can see here, this is the original color, and yeah, this glue is really too old. For number 19, whenever you have a bunch of pieces that you need to glue together, it's not a good idea to actually keep your glue in the upright fashion. The reason why is every time you tip it over to glue a piece together, you now need to wait for it to run down the bottle and out the nozzle, sometimes taking a while, sometimes you have to squeeze really hard to do that. In those cases, grab yourself a cup. We're actually going to store the glue upside down in the cup. So in between each of your glue ups, that glue stays right there at the tip, makes it quick access and real easy to get it to come out. For number 20, it is very important to keep your glue warm in the wintertime. And by warm, I don't mean 90 degrees, I just mean well above freezing. Actually, on the back of the glue here, it says, don't use this unless the glue and the materials are above 55 degrees. Otherwise, it may not adhere. Also, when you're storing your glue, make sure it doesn't get anywhere close to freezing. For example, in this shop here, it is well insulated, and I've had a couple occasions when it got really cold outside that the temperature in my shop dropped into the upper 30s. And guess what? I had some glue that went bad. So make sure you keep your glue temperature controlled. Tip number 21, if you find yourself buying a lot of these smaller bottles within a 1 to 2 year period, I would suggest investing in a gallon size, and then you can pour this gallon directly into these bottles and use it from there. But keep in mind that if you buy one of these big jugs, you need to make sure you use it. I'm a little embarrassed to show this, but let me show you the date of purchase. Exactly 3 years ago. I had some big plans to use a bunch of this glue, and those plans never went through. So even though this is 3 years old, it's in an unopened jug, I wouldn't dare trust this for a very important project. Maybe some simple stuff, you don't care if it eventually falls apart, but nothing important. And there you go, over 20 tips on how to use wood glue. Now I'm sure you can think of some others. Please list those in the comments. I'd love to read about them. And of course, you're going to help out a ton of other people. Otherwise, get out in your shop and have fun building.